Alright, hello everybody. This probably looks very confusing if you don't know anything about programming. Sorry, had to pause because I was about to sneeze. Okay, so if you don't know anything about programming, this is probably terrifying. But this is just a very brief tutorial on how to make your thing work with your thing. Basically, how to make your avatar work with our thing, because I'm probably just going to post a GitHub repository where you guys can download this and use it. Basically, if you have an animatable thing, such as, like, this thing, to make it play any animation you have saved, you drag this in and you do .play, and then you put in the name of the animation. Or you just click on whichever one you want. That will make sure that your animation plays. You want the animation that plays when you're talking to go under if energy is greater than or equal to 59.2. You don't need to know that number, that's just the sensitivity level of the microphone. If you're having issues getting it to work right, you can adjust this number a little bit here or there. I might even add a slider eventually. I don't know. But that's where you put the one where you are talking, and here's where you put it if you're not talking. In this case, like, each one has a different way they're handling it, because it's, like, this one just does animator.play reset, which is just one of these, but it's been put into an @export variable, because if you do that, you just get a little dingle bip on the side. Let me see if I can find that thing, actually. Like, these are an @export variable. Basically, it's a little dingle boop where you put this in front of this. Oh, don't do that. Okay, do this in front of this, and then tell it what type of thing it's supposed to be, and it'll remember that, and you can just clicky things and it'll help. Or you can drag and drop your thing in there, because that's too much to look at. I just dragged and dropped, like, iShopen.tres, which is a scene file, into this, because you can save a material as a scene. I did this because otherwise it wouldn't work properly. It just makes it so the mouth opens, mouth shuts, etc. What is mouth open and mouth shut? It's just this thing that it does this .set surface override material to the iShut material. If the eyes are, you know, open. And you don't have to have the same setup. You just have to tell it, hey, do this when volume louder. And then call the function that makes it talk. Like, I just do func talk whenever she's supposed to be talking. Or, like, don't talk when she's not supposed to be talking. It doesn't need to be too complicated, and you can look at the different examples I gave of how I made each of them work, because it does work in 2D, 3D, or whatever. It works fine no matter what. As long as you just have, here's what mouth open, here's what mouth shut. You can add animations, you could play a, like, little GIF or something probably. I'm not really sure all of the possible ways you could use it, frankly. That's one of the fun things about programming. You can kind of do things a little willy-nilly. It doesn't have to be a set specific way, and experimenting is good. You might find that you might want to do, like, procedural animation instead. Or you might want to add your very own way of, like, adding, like, facial tracking or something. If you do, dear goodness, please tell me what you did, because, wow, that's scary looking. I also have these little, like, hotkeys and stuff. These aren't here. That's not hotkeys. Where are they? I have some stored in here because those are specifically related to her, I believe. Yeah, like, is her poncho on? If it is, give her this material. If not, do this material. And that lets me change her poncho from, like, on and off, which is just nice. You know, and you can create a hotkey anytime you want. Just go to project settings. You type in the name of your action, like name of action, you press plus add. I'm just going to click X because I don't want to make a new one. And then you click a little button and you can type in whatever input you want, or select these. Or if you want to, like, have, like, extra things, like I have a lot that use Alt or Shift or Control, etc. because they make it, you know, easier to have more hotkeys on your number bar. Because I like using the number bar, but you can use literally anything you want. It's very, very forgiving. I handled my eyes blinking by using a timer that just changes the wait time a little bit each time. It's really fantastic how you can really just drag something in and be like, wait, like, drag the timer over and tell it, hey, make your wait time, that thing is so useful, by the way, make your wait time 0.2 or 3, and it'll do that. And now she blinks in random intervals, and it has nothing to do with what my mouth is doing. because those are all different materials on what's actually a 3D model, which is why there's all these different things here. You can see that here. Ignore the stupid titles. I don't know why they're both called cool wings. Like, see, there's the body, there's the eyes. You can't really see them there, but they are there, and there's the mouth, and you can't really see them there, but they are all a part of this thing that's technically actually a 3D model, even though it doesn't look like it. Let me see. Is there anything else I can tell you guys? Oh, yeah! So I will state the hardest part is just getting the, like, audio thing to work. That part was the hardest bit, but I managed to pull it off. Oh, I think this is where you get the specific bus effect. I think the bus has to be something like, I think there has to be like a recording, yeah, recording bus. I don't know if it has to be called record. I don't remember. That one of these was put in stupid style and the other wasn't. I don't know. I think you can add a sort of filter thing that makes it record or something, like an effect. Record and spectrum analyzer. I don't know which one of these we're working with, but I think it's this one because it's set to the master. And that thing, just adding those in using the add effect thing is what you use in order to get your audio working properly. So that way it can analyze the audio with the like audio analyzer and stuff and track it with the thingy to tell you, hey, is the energy of it higher or lower? Technically, no, this doesn't allow for things like, you know, changing the shape of the mouth based on what vowels you're saying or stuff like that, but you could probably put that in. It's just, it's not something that I had the mental energy to figure out right then. Maybe one day, but right now it doesn't feel necessary and I'm really satisfied with what I have. Also, sorry I'm not doing the VTuber voice today. I'm not doing that right now. We're just not doing that. And anyways, it's really not that complicated. This scene probably looks a bit complicated just because there's so many different things in here, but it doesn't need to be that complicated. It really doesn't. Oh, one random thing though is the last thing I want to show you though is the more complicated thing is getting your like project settings right, which is mostly just going through and finding things like borderless, always on top, transparent, etc., which is what lets you get this transparent look. You need more than just that though. You need like there's a lot of things that you have to turn on, like per pixel transparency or like stuff like that. And it took a while to go through every single one of those and like set that up. Frankly, if you just didn't want to set up those settings and you just downloaded this project, deleted everything, and then built your own like transparent game in here, I would not mind. That would make sense. I'm probably gonna do that if I ever want to make a game that's transparent, because I hate looking through all those settings. I really do. Also, I had to do some weird things for specifically the semi 2D and 3D model to get its stuff right. This one, there we go. Because her materials are all technically touching each other. Like, she looks 2D, but she actually has a tiny bit of, she has a little bit of depth. You can see, like, with the orange wings, how the, like, that's disappearing and reappearing. There is a little bit of depth. Just the tiniest amount to make things work properly. Oh, you can even kind of see it right there between there and there. And so that can cause some issues with how things are sorted. I think I fixed it by doing these sorts of things with my settings. It was kind of a pain and I just kind of messed around until something worked. I don't know if there's other setting things you need to fix, but I think it was mostly just these right here. It ultimately worked out pretty well. This is actually a slightly older version of it because the original one got deleted and lost somewhere because I was dealing with OneDrive. And let me tell you, please, okay, if you have already activated OneDrive, don't touch it. Please, if you haven't activated OneDrive, please don't. You will be miserable, you will be sad, you will suffer, it will be bad. You do not want it, you will cry, it'll make all of your projects die. Okay, sorry for being possessed by an angry gnome briefly, but that's the basics, and I hope you like it. Also, this background that I use sometimes is straight up just this square of a CSG shape, which is a nice handy thing you can just use to have like a random shape anytime, anywhere. They're not the best performance-wise, but this is not exactly a, like, FPS shooter or something. This is a VTuber, and it admittedly does still run worse than it should. There's probably ways to optimize this, but I'm not a professional. I'm a little goober dingus who figured this out in a fit of madness rage and begging my boyfriend to help me. Hopefully it works decently enough that you guys can get some use out of it. And those of you that don't want to do this can, like with VTuber stuff in the more traditional way, this might work. Hopefully this works for you. Oh, I also have this other thing where I have it set up where I have a hotkey where I can control if the where is it? If it's a, there we go, if it's one of these windows or not, because that makes it much easier to place her places and stuff. Like, I still have to, like, see, I can drag and drop her anywhere I want, and it works really well. Very handy, very dandy. Makes it much easier to, like, actually control her, because otherwise I couldn't move her. I also made her resizable. I have, like, some hotkeys and stuff related to that, and also just adjusted some settings to make that work. Now I'm really tiny. Now I'm really big. You know, I need to adjust some settings for the scaling junk, but, like, you know, it all works out. As long as it's working, it's working. I'm really proud of the progress I've made on this so far, and hopefully you guys will find this useful too. Thanks for watching, and I hope that you'll find this useful. I'll put the GitHub repository in the description. Obviously, this is kind of a wonky workaround for an otherwise very expensive or difficult process, and frankly, you probably will get better results with the professional things that people make specifically for this purpose. I did this because I wanted to rig my models in Blender, and I didn't want to use, like, other things, because I couldn't figure them out, and they were scary, and I am broke. Like, again, this is probably not going to be anyone's final solution. I wouldn't even know how to begin to, like, make this work with, like, Twitch or something. I don't know how that works. I don't do Twitch. I'm not a live streamer. I'm just doing something for fun. But if you want something that kind of works like a VTuber and checks at least if you're being loud enough for it to think you're talking, this is an option. It's a free option. It's a questionable option. But it's an option that I wanted to make because, frankly, there weren't any very good ones out there for me specifically in my specific set of interests. And this probably is a very specific tool for a very specific group of people. But to those of you willing to learn how to use something for free and, like, deal with Godot, this is an option. You will have to rig your models in Blender or probably some other 3D modeling program. I don't think it really matters as long as you can, like, put it into Godot, you can put it into anywhere. Your animations are, you're gonna have to learn how to use the non-linear animation stuff, probably. I found I had to have multiple animation players to play, like, the, sway... I think it was for the swaying motion and some other thing once, but I just don't remember. I think the wings are actually detached from the body, so they had two different animation players. These are the actual wings. Technically, I could hide and remove the wings anytime I want, I'm realizing, and maybe I should add that as a toggle, I don't know. Yeah. That's pretty much it. If you have any questions on how to use it or you get stuck, just let me know in the comments. I'll help you out the best that I can. Again, this is not a replacement for, like, those incredible programs out there that do exist. There's also other free options out there, like you could check out Vtubing, which was what I started out with, and it's super, super, super user-friendly. It doesn't give you as much customizability, I think, but it has easier setups. Like, the thing is this is ultimately a game development program. Godot is not meant for VTubing, so you can do anything in here that you could do in a game development program. And that's going to mean different things. Oh, also, I think you need to be in compatibility mode for things to be, like, transparent, but I'm not 100% sure on this, and I don't know if this works on every device. Sorry, I just randomly remembered that, but, this is a game development program, which means, yeah, you basically have nigh infinite freedom in here, but you also have to actually learn how to use it. But that's thankfully not as hard as you think. I've only been doing this for a little over a year now, which makes it kind of incredible I was able to pull this off, frankly. You can do so much in here, and it's so much fun. And I'd love to see what people do if they realize this is an option. One of my big goals whenever I made this channel was I wanted to encourage more people to get into making video games because it's so much fun. And frankly, I think we need more people making art, people making amazing things. I get so inspired when I see the different, like, designs people make for their VTubers, or the indie games that come out and just enthrall people. I mean, come on, look at Undertale. That's, like, just... how? I mean, and frankly, if I'm being honest, that's proof that you don't have to be a good programmer to make something truly amazing in a game development program. No shade at Toby Fox. His code is terrifying, but I'm not gonna say that I'm a better game developer than him. He just, Toby's coding is... just watch a video on it and it is rather funny, but like, that it worked. It doesn't matter if it worked. If it worked, then it's better than the thing that you thought of that was better that didn't work. I mean, or didn't even get made, you know? What matters is he pulled off something so freaking incredible that we are going to be talking about him for basically forever. Or at least as long as indie games are a thing. That's one of the greatest legends of all time. You don't need to know exactly what you're doing. There is no perfect way to do things, and while there's this thing called code smells, which can help you have, like, less messy, stressy code, technically, as long as the computer does the job, you've done it right. It's an art form, and it doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to get it done, you know? Get it done. I don't know what I mean by that, but, like, no, my program does not in fact track your mouth. It tracks how loud you are, for example. This is not the most efficient or high-quality way of handling this. You can see weird little ways that my mouth moves because of this. But it works. And that's more than I can say for, like, you know, something that I didn't get to work. So, like, don't take it too seriously. You can make something absolutely incredible, and you don't have to necessarily have the skill to know what you're doing. You don't need to have had a fancy class. You don't need to know much at all, frankly. You learn on the job. I went into this whole programming anything thing with no idea what I was doing, using RenPy, which got me into programming, but now I'm realizing, now that I know more, I know it wasn't the best option to get started, but what matters is it got me started, so it was worth doing anyways. But, like, you know, I'm trying to be motivating here. You don't need to know what you're doing to do something incredible. You don't need to, like, be a great artist to make a great VTuber model. You don't need to be a great programmer to make something that at least makes everyone's lives a little bit easier, or to make something that makes people happy. What really matters is, are you making yourself happy, and are you creating something that you think is cool? As long as whatever it is cool to you, that's what really matters, I guess. I think this is cool. Someone is probably gonna, like, show up and make an even cooler version of this, and if they do, that is so awesome. I just want it to be a good starting place for people to get started on making something awesome, because I know that you are capable of making incredible things. If you don't think you are, at least put a little yet at the end, because I wasn't able to do this when I got started. And Toby Fox has become a super amazing programmer since Undertale. I mean, yes, he put every single bit of dialogue into one text file, which is a lot. Oh, poor thing, that must have been painful, but you know what? I would have done the same exact thing if I hadn't had someone to tell me not to do that. And I wouldn't have done nearly as good as he did, because Toby's freaking cool as frick. Toby's cool, you're cool, you've got cool ideas. Use your cool ideas. This one's my cool idea. And if you have cool ideas to make this cool idea better, do it. explore, expand on this, have fun. If we don't make mistakes or like do something a little weird, we won't end up with something really cool after all. This turned into too much joking about Toby Fox's programming skills. I mean, absolutely no disrespect. That is basically my idol. That is the game developer that I look up to. And how could I not? But I also think it's reassuring to hear from, like, game developers that it's not as scary as it sounds. It's not as precise as it sounds. A lot of it is just telling the computer, hey, play video when this happened. Which is, it sounds like a lot, when you're just looking at 10,000 lines of horrible code, but, like, it gets less scary and you understand it better with time. I'll probably go through and add some comments to the things to make it easier to read, but, the long and short of this is just, give this a try if you don't want to spend money. And if you think that you might be able to do something really cool with it, go ahead, have fun. Add your own hotkeys. Add your own creations. Change things up. Have fun. And, just do your best, If you do use this, please don't use my specific model for your stuff. Like, unless you're just testing it, like, you can test it out and use it as a reference. But, like, don't use my character for commercial purposes, please. This is me. Please don't use my face. Please don't steal my face. Anyways, enjoy, have fun, and I really hope you guys have fun. Toodaloo!